against all the evil the tyranny can conjure, all the atrocities dissidents can produce. We will send unto them only you. Rip and tear until it is done.
Guns are very good at killing stuff, unsurprising given that we've had nearly 1,000 years to improve upon them and refine the design. We've employed them in wars for ages, for good reason. You see, with a sword, mace, spear, whatever else, you gotta get close to a guy, but guns? I mean, you can, but it's kinda like optional, I guess. I don't know why I'm pretending like you don't know what I'm about to start talking about. You did read the title, didn't you? Melee weapons fucking suck. Now, before you dislike the video, let me just say that they are also incredibly fun. I look at them the same way you look at junk food. Physically, it's awful, but mentally, it just makes my brain tingle in ways a balanced diet can only hope to achieve. It's not bad to enjoy pizza, burgers, ice cream, whatever else every once in a while, but you overdo it and soon you're gonna want something with actual substance. But you see, unlike junk food, melee weapons don't have to stay crap because, let's be real, these, all of these right here, are bad. And if you give me this many minutes, I'll explain why and suggest some possible fixes. But before we get to the why, let's cover the what real quickly. I need to remember some people watching this are probably very new to the game. The stun baton, hatchet, shovel, and saber are the first type of melee. These are ones that your helldiver just kind of wildly swings around. They have very limited reach but can hit multiple enemies in one go. The baton deals below average damage. I mean, really below average damage, but stuns anything it hits for a few seconds. The hatchet doesn't stun, but does still stagger briefly, and deals a lot more damage. That's it. What, I said there were 4 things, and I only mentioned 2? Well, that's because the shovel and saber are essentially reskins of the hatchet. The shovel is a bit more unique. While aiming, it gives you this unique digging move, which does indeed let you dig, allowing you to make holes and the like. But outside of that, it's functionally identical to the hatchet, while the saber is literally identical to the hatchet. Yeah, the animation is a bit flashier, but that's it. That is literally it. What is that, like 2 minutes in? 2 minutes in and we already have one problem? I feel like I'm gonna need to make a list here because, wow, that was fast. Then there's the second type, the thrusters. This form of attack gives you a lot more precision. Assuming you aim in, you can very easily hit weak points, which makes killing stuff like Devastators, Overseers, and Alpha Commanders a lot easier. Also, the range is longer, but it's a lot harder to hit multiple enemies in one swing. It can happen, just don't bank on it. The stun lance does something you couldn't possibly guess, and hits a lot harder than the baton, which is even better with that extra range and accuracy I just mentioned. And then there's the one true flag, a stratagem support weapon. Damn. This thing has got to do something crazy considering it takes up not only a stratagem spot, but also a support one, which means it's going toe to toe with stuff like the recoilless, the spear, the machine guns, the grenade launchers, and a whole bunch of other stuff. It's literally just a reskin of the lance. Okay, so that's problem number 2. We're not exactly bursting with options here, especially when 2 things are just fancy coats of paint and another one is also pretty derivative and completely tied to RNG. But if you think it's only gonna get better from here, my sweet summer child, we have not even scratched the surface. This right here is the weapon selection screen. It's where you select the weapon, but, there's something wrong with it. Do you see it? Look closer. How about now? Still no? Oh, I know! There's no melee option! Can you say melee option in Spanish? We actually have 2 problems here, a double whammy if you will. Not only are melee weapons in the secondary category, which is bad for a few reasons I'll get into in a sec, but there's something else wrong. These stat descriptions are horrible. Every gun gives you damage numbers, fire rate and whatnot. Here we get recoil and nothing else. Also, the penetration levels being shown are just completely wrong. Wow, I don't even have a joke or a funny quip for that. It's honestly kind of crazy how these stats have never got corrected. But going back to problem 3, why is this bad? To put it simply, it just creates way too much competition. There's the raw damage and penetration of the Verdict, Big Iron or Talon, the utility of the explosive pistols, the crowd control of the Crisper or Loyalist, or the support capabilities of the Stim pistol. Newsflash: between a fancy stick and a pocket-sized nuclear warhead, most people are gonna opt for the nuclear warhead. Hell, I'd rather take the Peacemaker. Put the gun down, I'm about to explain myself. Yes, that is a very bold statement to make, but I swear it's true, and not just because my hate boner can be seen from orbit. I mean, it can, but just ignore that, that's not relevant. While I've been recording this video, I have really missed having a pistol I can rely on when my primary is out of ammo. It's obviously more ideal to kill something from far away than get up close to it, and Helldivers is no exception. But it goes further than that. A lot of enemies straight up disincentivize getting close to them. Some fly, meaning you physically cannot harm them, while bullets don't discriminate against verticality. Some explode on death. 9 out of 10 doctors would recommend being as far away from an explosion when it goes off. Some have devastating close range attacks that put you into ragdoll, and some can't be staggered. It just feels like a lot of them weren't designed with melee in mind. I mean, there's 2 sub-factions that just turn everybody into suicide bombers, like, come on. So I guess we can add that to the problem list as well. Sounds bad, right? Well, it gets worse. It's a very common philosophy in games that the riskier or more challenging something is to use, the more powerful it will be in return. Once again, Helldivers is no exception to this. The anti-material rifle is a very reliable sniper rifle type gun that hits high damage and has high penetration. The railgun is another sniper rifle type weapon, even if its bloody scope would make you think otherwise, that can hit just ludicrous amounts of damage and has the capability to go straight through tanks. The caveat is that it only has 1 shot, and if you want to hit this kind of damage, you need to be in unsafe mode, which if you time wrong,
Helldiver KIA.
This is an example of a good dynamic. The AMR is a lot more consistent and user-friendly, but if you get good with the railgun, God help anything that gets stuck in your sights, if you can even see them. Not sure if this is the best comparison, but I just want an excuse to complain about the railgun scope. I hate it so much. You'll assume that because melee weapons are, melee, is in literally unusable outside of close range, that they would be hitting at least decent damage, right? Well, this is how much the stun baton does per swing, and this is how much health a scavenger, the weakest enemy in the game, something that would die if you looked at it funny, has. Do I need to say anything else? The risk-reward ratio isn't ratioing. The damage does not reflect the fact I have to smell the enemy's farts to actually hurt them. And before I hear somebody mention peak physique or reinforced arbalets, I gotta stop you right there. Using the excuse of, oh well these 2 make melee good, isn't an excuse. A weapon's value shouldn't hinge on whether or not I roll a passive. They can help, of course. Look at the Eruptor. It benefits greatly from the extra ammo and reload speed of Siege Ready, or the improved aim drag from peak physique, funnily enough. But it is still very much usable without running either of these 2. So ignoring that and just looking at the base damage, it ain't that great. It varies, of course. In fact, the baton is the only thing that doesn't hit 110, but 110 still isn't that good. For context, the Verdict deals 125 and has the same level of penetration, but it's a gun. Even if we take the maximum possible damage, it still isn't outstanding or anything. The most you can do is 220, which is only 20 more than a Senator shot, which I think is made up for by the difference in penetration. And also, the fact that the Senator doesn't force you to run certain passives. Sounds bad, right? But guess what? It gets worse. Attacking with melee weapons consumes stamina, and not an insignificant amount either. 20 swings is all it takes to be completely exhausted, and just like, why? Is that not antithetical? Haven't used that word yet. To the whole point? You have something that has a hard capped range on it, So there's a chance you'll want to run to close that distance, which consumes stamina. And then actually attacking then also consumes stamina. Now, granted, you can still swing even when you're completely out, but if you want to run away or try and sprint to a different enemy, sucks to suck, I guess. Better hope you have dead sprint or spare stim ready. It just feels like such an arbitrary nerf, and not to mention, it discourages using heavy armor because of its increased recovery time. I could maybe see an argument being made for realism. Yeah, I believe that swinging an axe around frantically for 30 seconds would be a pretty grueling experience. Okay, fair enough. Wait, what's this doing here? Yeah, any realism arguments are just immediately invalidated by democracy protects existence. Democracy, an intangible thing, can make somebody just casually shrug off a nuclear explosion, but somebody not getting tired after poking people with a big stick for a little while? Too unrealistic, I guess. I know I'm being negative, but don't get it twisted. I do enjoy this playstyle. It is fun, especially when you use the shield or the significantly less cool shield. It's not the most fun you can have with a secondary. I'm sorry, nothing's being the pure dopamine that Ultimatum gives me, but hey, it's a close second. Third. Fourth? Maybe fifth. Point is, it's enjoyable, which it bloody well better be, because issue number whatever, I lost count. What niche is Melee supposed to fill exactly? That's a rhetorical question, don't answer that. Any upside you could give it is done by something else, but better. We already talked about damage, but maybe them not needing any kind of ammo could save them, and oh, never mind, the laser pistols exist. Well, maybe the stunning capabilities give them an edge, but stuff like the Bushwhacker or Loyalist can basically infinitely stun lock enemies, assuming you hit your shots. Do they work in stealth? No idea, can't be bothered to check, but something tells me that even if they did, the suppressed pistol would have made them redundant by now. Apparently the Lance, and the Flag I guess too, can kill chargers. I never managed to pull it off, but I did notice I could knock off some armor, which is kinda cool. Not even the slightest bit practical, because you're gonna get swarmed by a million different bugs doing it, and, you know, the spore charger is right there. But it's something, I guess. Yeah, no, I got nothing. But hey, as long as something's fun, does it really matter? No. But you see, I've been lying to you this entire time, because Melee isn't fun. In context to other games. I know this isn't really a problem with Helldivers necessarily, but screw it, my video. I started getting back into Killing Floor 2 lately. Great game, sucks that they never made a sequel to it. If you got some dosh to spare, I'd definitely give it a try. I'm sure the one Killing Floor fan watching this video was ecstatic to hear me say the word dosh. Going from that game's melee system back to this one is physically painful. Killing Floor 2 has light attacks, heavy attacks, quick jabs to knock Zeds back, blocking, parrying, and so many weapons. You have the Pulverizer, which can create explosions, hydraulic electrical fists, a goddamn laser sword. How does this game have a laser sword, but the one that is set in the future doesn't? The Hemiclobberer, a baseball bat that can also heal people if you whack them over the head with it. And as much as I want to pretend it doesn't exist, even Killing Floor 3 has a cool weapon idea with these kunai. You can swap between throwing them like knives, like throwing them like throwing knives, and slashing them like two daggers. Here, there is one kind of attack, and our arsenal consists of stick, axe, reskin of axe, another reskin of axe that actually has a cool gimmick attached to it but is ruined by it being completely chance-based, and the fact it's a support weapon, big stick, and a reskin of Big Stick that is infinitely worse because, again, support weapon. And this is Bomar from the future here, coming to say that we got another melee weapon, and it's just a machete. I really hope it does something unique, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm not expecting much from it. I really hope I'm proved wrong, though. It's also underbaked that the pastry is still frozen in the box. Not to mention the countless other problems, too. Well, okay, you can't count them, but shut up. So yeah, there are, a few issues, just a few, which can spoil the enjoyment a tad bit, and I think we all know where I'm going with this. What would I, a man whose game design knowledge doesn't go past that of a 9th grader, do to fix the melee of Helldivers 2? And to answer that, I don't know. There are just some problems here I don't really think you can fix. For instance, the issue of enemy design not facilitating a close-ranged approach. That is something I am not equipped to tackle, so we're kind of just looking purely at the weapons here. And oh boy, I have a few suggestions there. Firstly, I think they all need an identity of their own. The stunners, the axe, and the shovel can stay the same, but the flag and sword really need something. The saber and the 1-2 flag are just supposed to be novelty weapons, so it's okay that they don't do anything unique.
Shut your fucking mouth!
No problem, Charlie.
Shut the fuck up, you cunt! Shut it!
For the sword, I think it would be really cool to give it the ability to swap between stances. I don't know how you'd actually do it, but I think it should be able to switch between its normal slashing attack it has right now and the stabbing thrust attack identical to the lance or flag. Obviously, it would need some kind of drawback, otherwise it's just an axe and a lance both smushed together with no downsides. And what you'll do to balance it out is beyond me. I just think it would be cool if we did get something with stance switching, and I mean, hey, it works on a sword. You can slash or, like, thrust with it. And as for the flag, well, I would suggest something, but odds are it's already been suggested anyway, because there have been a billion different buff ideas for this. I've seen some people say it should give some kind of morale boost effect where it would buff nearby players. I've seen some people say it should basically be Engineer's hologram grenade from Deep Rock and make enemies focus on wherever the flag is. I've even seen a few people say it should just penetrate heavy armor as opposed to medium armor. Personally, I don't care what it does, just please make it do something unique. Anything. It doesn't even have to be good. Also, let me equip the shovel regularly and not as a support weapon. Screw the random chance, just let me bring this as part of my loadout from the beginning. I want to bring it into defending high value asset missions. Finally, I'd remove the stamina consumption on anything, or at least reduce it. More. There you go. Now everything has a purpose, I can dick around with the shovel whenever I want, and melee weapons don't feel awful to use. But I still don't think that's enough. I think even with all that, there wouldn't be much of an incentive to run this stuff, so what I would do is either greatly expand the combat, or just make it its own dedicated slot, flag excluded I guess. If you go with the latter, then sure, melee would still kind of be underwhelming, but hey, it's not forcing you to sacrifice a secondary now, so it's not really hurting anybody. The absolute masochists who enjoy playing like this can still do it, and people who don't care for it are basically unaffected. You'd probably have to give everybody some kind of generic combat knife though. Or alternatively, you can make giving up your pistol actually worth it, in which case, damage across the board needs to be greatly improved. Honestly, I think the values that they hit with peak physique now would be fine as the default. Obviously, this means that the melee bonus from peak physique and arbalettes would have to be greatly reduced, or just completely removed. Which one would be better is beyond me, but I think we can go further. I'd like to see new attacks implemented too. There should be heavy strikes which would hit for insane amounts of damage at the cost of having a long wind up and a bit of a recovery time. Kinda like how most heavy attacks work in fighting games, forcing you to be smart. And blocking, which would give you a big damage reduction to melee from the front. Maybe parrying too, where perfectly timed blocks would stagger an enemy and leave them vulnerable to follow up, but I can see that being a pain in the ass to code in. I would love to see it, but could very much understand if that's like too unrealistic to happen. And it goes without saying, but more weapons too, still waiting on the laser sword or a chainsaw. Would all of this be enough? I don't know. This is just a hypothetical scenario, but I like to think that it would be. As is right now though, I am so happy that I never have to use melee again, at least for a while. I'm so sick of using it to get footage for this video. I just want to use a pistol again. But hey, that's about it. Do you wholeheartedly agree with everything I had to say? Think I'm completely wrong? Or are you kind of in the middle? Let me know down in the comments, and I'll probably read it. I don't know, sometimes I get like 500 comments and like, you don't expect me to read all of that, do you? But even then, I do still read a lot of them, so there is a decent chance I will read what you have to say. Besides that, I hope you had an above average day. I hope the rest of your day continues to be above average. And enjoy this really out of context clip from Bubble Tea, because I just realized I forgot to put her cameo in.
Microphone.
Check it out, I'm in the house like carpet. And if there's too many heads in my blunt, I won't spark it. I'll put it in my pocket and save it like rocket fuel. Till everybody's gone and it's cool, then I spark it up with my brother. His mama named him Moan, but I call him Moan Lover. And he's more than a cover, he's a quilt. We're putting shit together like the house that John built on a hill. Cause this shit gonna feel like velvet, turtle. My style fits tighter than a girdle. If you hate it, then you can just leave it like Beaver. But in a day or two, I'll make you a true believer in me. Cause like the alphabet, you'll see that ism kicks a rhyme, not your everyday soliloquy. Like Chef Boyardee, my rhyme is truly cooking. Piece of Matty Rich, cause he's straight out of Brooklyn, New York. I don't eat pork or swine when I dine. I drink a cup of Kool-Aid, not a big glass of wine or a Heineken. If you have time, I'll drop rhyme again.
Pepperoni with the chicken strips.